Hey guys, welcome to worshipministry.com. We're really glad that you're here. Hope you keep coming back to the site. One of the things we want to encourage you to do before we get started with today's video blog post, is to encourage you to visit worshipministry.com/setlists. Right down here at the bottom of the screen, you'll find it. www.worshipministry.com/setlists. And we want to encourage you guys to post your set lists. That's a really great place for you to be able to talk with other folks about maybe transitioning between songs, some of the key changes and things that might need to happen, and how to get through those kind of things and make your way through. So again, visit that link down at the bottom, worshipministry.com/setlist, to post your set lists, and we'd love to see your posts there. All right, today's topic is 10 great tips to build 10 tips to building a great worship ministry set. I know there are a lot of factors that go into worship, building a great worship set. These 10 things that I find, I think they'll help you. They're not the must-do items. They may not be the perfect list, but they're 10 things that I've found over the years that have really helped me, and I think they'll encourage you as well. So let's get started. Tip number 1 would be pray. If you're not praying, you're dying. One of the things that I've heard said to me a lot of times, I've been doing this for a long time, guys. It's 25 years plus that I've been leading worship. If you ain't praying, you're dying. And if you ain't praying, you've got no business being up on a platform or stage leading worship. You've got to spend time. You've got to take the time to hear from God and listen to what God's telling you to do in regards to building your set lists. Tip number 2, you need to know your audience. Are you leading kids? Are you leading adults? Are you leading a women's group, a men's group? Is it a retreat setting? What is your audience? What kind of things are going to make that congregation, what kind of songs are going to give that congregation that ultimate worship experience that you're looking for? I know for me, it's real easy to get caught up in songs that I like to play, but that's going to be something that's going to miss the mark. You need to be sensitive to who you're leading, and build a set list that's going to set the groundwork for a particular group to have an awesome worship experience, a real true encounter with God. Also, if you're guest leading a group, one of the things that I always like to do if my team's out ministering in a different church, maybe we get asked by a different church to do a retreat. Whatever it may be, if we're in a situation where we're guest leading, one of the things that I always like to do is try to spend some quality time, whether it by phone or in person, with whoever is the leader of that group. One of the things that can really help you accomplish is to be able to do the kind of songs and the set lists that put a set list together that's going to minister to that group, to set them up for a really good worship experience. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier in this tip, is if I'm just up there playing songs that I like, it's going to miss the mark. But if you're going to do songs that may resonate because of that congregation, because you spent time with that leader, I highly encourage you to do that. Take the time to get to know more about that group that you're leading. Tip number 3, you got to relax. It's okay to be nervous. One of my favorite sayings is, a true professional is one who covers his mistakes well. We are all going to make mistakes. I've even been in situations where I've seen some of the top artists in concerts, and mistakes have happened. One of the things that happened to us not too long ago, we use a click sometimes, and we use a click that has a loop. Some of you know what I'm talking about, the clicks and the loops. And the click that started was the wrong click in the wrong loop, and it was kind of a comical moment because we were able to laugh about it. There was 2 things that it did. One was it broke the tension with the band, and 2, it broke the tension with the congregation, because it showed people that we're human and we made a mistake. We all had a good laugh about it, and after that, the worship was really great because people relaxed a little bit. So just relax. It's okay to be nervous, but don't let your mistake distract you to the point that it's going to ruin a group's worship experience. They're probably not going to notice anyway. So tip number 4, be transparent. Acknowledge that you're flawed. We're all flawed. Mistakes can be a wonderful icebreaker, not only with the people, like I was saying, that you're leading, but it can be a great icebreaker with your band as well. So just be transparent, and going back to tip number 3, relax with it and just have some fun with it. So tip number 5, one of the things that I really want to do is when I go to a worship center, I'm not the leader. I'm just in the congregation, enjoying a time of corporate worship together. Is I want to be led by somebody that's not afraid to both communicate with me as the member of the congregation that day, or the group of people that are worshiping, but they're also not afraid to communicate with God. Now, I know it's a fine line between leading and worshiping, but isn't that our calling? It's to lead people in worship as we ourselves worship. So take the time, man, worship, and don't be afraid to communicate horizontally and vertically as well. So tip number 6, know your material. There's 3 words I'm going to tell you right now: practice, practice, practice. My parents, if they told me once, you know the old story, they told you a million times, you can never be prepared enough. Know your material. One of the things that I really am trying to work on with my team right now at our church is when you come to rehearsal, your rehearsal time is not your time to be learning songs. That should be your practice time before the rehearsal. When you come to rehearsal, that's when you're trying to polish the set off. You're working on your transitions. You're working on how the song is going to flow and how that song is going to flow from one song to the next. And we'll get the transitions here in a minute, but practice, know your material, own your parts. Have an attitude of excellence when you're up there leading, and have that attitude of excellence when you're practicing at home, whether it's with your electronic drum kit and your earphones, man. Own those parts. A real good friend of mine told me one time, if you can just find one thing in each song, it will make a huge difference. There's one thing that you can find in each song. If it's 3 or 4 words, or maybe it's a chorus, or maybe it's a verse, or part of one of those things. If you can find one of those things a song and you can own it in each song that you play, it's going to make a huge difference in your worship. So I really encourage you to know your material, take ownership of your songs and the parts that you're playing, and find something in each song that's something that you can own and you can really latch onto. It's going to make a big difference in your worship. Let's get on to tip number 7, which is going to be transitions. We talked about that a little bit here in tip 6. I think those transitions are often overlooked. I think one of the things that's really important is flowing. That's important, not just knowing the songs, but flowing from one song to the next. Let your worship times be worshipful. If you guys spend, 5 or 10 minutes between songs, you're just flowing and you're letting the Spirit lead you and you're just worshiping through, sometimes that sets the transition for you. It just happens because it's God-led and you're letting the Spirit lead you. So don't overlook your transition. Take the time to flow from one song to the next, and don't be afraid to do those things in practice. Take the time to transition in between songs in your rehearsal times. Tip number 8, challenging yourself and your band. Don't get stuck in a rut. Like I was talking about in tip 2 or 3, whatever it was, about there's certain songs that I love to play. There's songs, like I said, I've been doing this for over 25 years. There are songs from back in the 80s and the 90s that I love to this day. I can flip those songs on my iPhone, and man, it takes me back to a place, and I'm there. I love those songs, but you can't let yourself get stuck in a rut. There are a ton of great new songs coming out almost on a daily basis, practically on a daily basis. Don't be afraid to try those new songs. Don't be afraid to try some Jesus culture music and Starfield and Hillsong and Kristen Stanfill and the Wren Collective and City Harmonic. Man, there's a ton of great bands. ALM UK is a band that I'm really digging right now. Give those guys a try. And there's some great new material that you can use Even if you're afraid to, there's some real simple songs that are coming out new today that are going to breathe new life into your worship ministry. So I really encourage you to challenge yourself and your band by doing new music. Don't be afraid to do that. Tip number 9, I want to encourage you guys to be accountable. Be accountable to your spouse. Be accountable to your pastor. Find accountability partners if you can get that set up, and those things are so important. Don't be one of the things that I do. Don't be afraid to have somebody ask you the hard questions. I meet every Friday with my pastor, and he asks me some tough questions sometimes. Questions are pretty uncomfortable to answer, but through those tough questions, he and I grow as a team, as a pastor and a worship leader. And it affects our worship ministry. It affects the way we are able to lead people into as a congregation we go there, but when we get there, we're in that secret place as individuals. So don't be afraid to have an accountability partner. One of the things that I do is I've got a team of about 20 people that I always try to email when I'm leading worship, the songs that I'm doing, so they can pray over those things, so they know when we're leading, they know what times they know what day it is, they know what church it is. Have people praying for you. Recruit partners that will pray for you, and they'll challenge you and they'll ask you the tough questions. Number 10, and this is really important. Have fun. Don't be afraid to have fun. Worship is a blast for me. I love leading worship. I just got the chance to interview Jared Anderson here not too long ago. We're going to air that interview here before too long. And one of the things that Jared said, I asked him this question. I asked him, what makes you go? What is really flipping your switch right now in worship? And one of the things he said, it was just being marked. And I totally resonated with what Jared was saying. It's not this, I get to do this or I want to do this. I do get to do this and I want to do this, trust me. But it's I have to. It's that calling, it's that separating you out and pulling you apart from the norm and putting you in a very special place. That's important, that's fun, that's awesome. Don't be afraid to have fun. Don't be afraid to be separated out. Don't be afraid to be marked. You'll find that that'll take you a long ways in your worship ministry. And I think if you just practice these 10 tips, I think you'll find that they're going to help you go a long ways. Again, I want to encourage you guys, if you get a chance, go to worshipministry.com. I love doing this. Down at the bottom it says www. Click on this link, www.worshipministry.com/setlists. And if you can do that, you'll find you can post your set list there, and you'll be able to get some great encouragement from other friends that are on our website. Well, that's it, guys. That's our 10 tips. I'm glad that you've visited us today. I'm glad you're checking out this video blog. We hope to have a lot more video blogs, not only by me, but several of our regular bloggers. And thanks again, guys. Keep up the good work. Don't give up, and keep on doing it. All right? Love you guys. Bye.